Feminine, fashionable, Barbara Kavovit has arrived as the princess of power tools, Barbara K.
I saw a woman with a dream. Not much resource, no experience in this business, but a big dream.
She's designed her breakout line of tools for women to be sexy, fun, and above all, to work.
It's not your old man's toolbox.
Barbara's redefined what women expect from home repair tools and from themselves.
Barbara has a saying, home improvement equals self-improvement.
And as the head of Barbara K Enterprises, Barbara Kavovit is aiming high.
People will forget about Martha Stewart and they'll just think of Barbara K.
If Martha's in the kitchen, Barbara's in the garage.
This is the story of how this single working mom
What my sister has is just unconditional all love for Zachary.
competed in a man's world, lost one multi-million-dollar empire, only to create another. This is Barbara K. Try to keep up with her, if you can. She's everywhere.
They greenlighted the show.
On the radio, on the net, and in the stores. Carving out her cut of the trillion-dollar home repair industry with her Barbara K line of tools.
She is a woman who looked at a problem that existed and said, you know, I think I have the solution to that.
I would like a little bigger. All right, you got it.
She is the most determined businesswoman I've ever met on any level.
Her tools are sleek and fashionable. Definitely not pink.
She looks good.
This is not frou-frou. These products are all top quality, terrific items that can pass any test you want them to.
$5 million of sales this year. Projected for next year, 15. And it all comes from Barbara K.
Whether you're a sophisticated woman in New York or a woman living in a small town in the Midwest, there's something about her that makes you think she must know what she's doing.
She's like the girl next door, except she wouldn't have the 2 cups of sugar to borrow. She'd give you a power drill.
If I can get that distribution, that's what's gonna really, the value of the company is just gonna, you know, go through the roof.
Barbara is really a big thinker, the big picture, not the details. She needs those of us in the background to make it happen and dot the I's and cross the T's.
She actually had a great idea and made it happen.
Barbara knows what women want and how to deliver it.
Barbara teaches women to develop their inner strength by helping them learn how to do things that may seem to many like mundane tasks, such as hanging a curtain or fixing a leaky faucet. But if you've never done that before, then it becomes a great achievement.
The kind of achievement that means the world to Barbara K.
I didn't want my child to ever say, you know, Mom, can you hang my basketball net? And I would have to say, oh, well, you'll have to wait till the morning, or I'll have to call your father. I mean, I never wanted my son to see a woman and his mom feel like that.
Just as Barbara wants to be a positive role model for her son, her parents worked hard to instill self-confidence and ambition in their eldest daughter.
We lived in a small apartment in the Bronx. We didn't have much as kids. I can remember when I was 9 years old, in this huge lake, freezing cold. Mom, I don't want to swim. She's like, swim, Barb. That'll build character for you later in life. It'll build discipline and everything you need to be a success.
My father was always a really handy person. And I remember we used to sit with my father and build bookshelves with him.
We put a hammer in my hand, and he's like, okay, Barbara, just, you know, hammer. And he held his fingers there, and he trusted me not to really pound on his fingers. I can remember feeling that sense of accomplishment when the nail made the 2 pieces of wood stick together.
My sister truly was always an entrepreneur, and we always played Monopoly. My sister was always the one with the most houses, always.
As a young entrepreneur, Barbara started up a brisk business selling secondhand snorkels and fins at the local pool.
I always had it in me, you know, to maybe sell or to get the word out.
Like many budding salesmen, Barbara had a natural charisma.
As far back as I can remember, everybody's always wanted to be friends with Barbara and kind of just be part of whatever she was doing.
It wasn't the arts, it was business that captured Barbara's imagination, and she became president of her high school's business club.
I remember times when she would just decide what she wanted to do, and people want to be a part of that. People gravitate towards someone who's a leader.
Armed with a degree in finance, Barbara worked for almost a year as a stockbroker.
And that didn't last very long. Barbara is not a bureaucratic person.
Back at home, hanging out in her parents' kitchen, Barbara overheard a story that would change her life.
I remember listening to my mom and her friends talk about those handymen that never showed up at home, and a light bulb went off. Well, maybe I could make a difference. Maybe if I learned how to do these things, I would always show up, and women can call upon me, and I would make sure that the job gets done.
Barbara printed up flyers and went hunting for customers for her new home repairs business.
I stood outside in the shopping center where women shopped, and as they came out, I handed them my business card.
She went to different women in Westchester and said, you know, hey, can I fix your stove for you, or whatever it may be. And I think that there was a neat connection between the fact that she was a woman and other women as well.
But Barbara still had to find the experts to do the actual work.
I would look in the local paper, and I would try and find like handymen or carpenters and electricians that might match the job description of what they were calling me about. So I would take them with me to this job site, and I would learn how to do it.
Confident enough, Barbara opened a small office.
I just couldn't even believe that from, doing small renovations of hanging wallpaper and painting kitchens, that she had built this office space. I mean, at the time, it was like unbelievable. And she did it herself.
After building up her business doing home repairs, Barbara saw a new opportunity and typically went for it.
I ended up with a meeting at IBM, and he said to me, what are you going to do for IBM?
What Barbara could do was to plant small repairs, but what she got instead was an order to replace a loading dock door, something she'd never done before.
I called the guy that made steel doors, brought him to the IBM corporate headquarters. From there, we replaced the loading dock doors, and I ended up with a 2-year contract to do all of IBM's small repairs.
And she was only 22. Over the next 10 years, Barbara built her construction business, often venturing into uncharted waters.
There's no such thing as a woman in construction, and that's what fuels my motivation. I love a challenge. I think, nothing should be easy in life.
Relocating her company to the city, Barbara worked for the best, building Ralph Lauren's new corporate offices, trendy boutiques, and state-of-the-art recording studios. Then the dot-com craze hit, and Barbara's company caught the wave, winning lucrative contracts to create trendy office spaces.
She built out a lot of the office spaces. I mean, 38,000, 50,000, 70,000 square feet, like huge spaces.
MyVillage.com, HotJobs.com, Women.com. It's just like any other construction project, Joe. It's just that a lot of our clients happen to be the .com companies.
And with success came recognition. Crain's New York named Barbara one of the 100 most influential women in New York business.
She keeps it very low-key, her great successes, and then the next thing you know, you see her in a newspaper on the front page of the real estate section of the New York Times.
And Barbara's family grew along with her company.
I had gotten married. I had a child, a beautiful child named Zachary.
Barbara thought she had it all, but she could not hang on.
Trying to run a business and be a mother and be a wife was probably the toughest time for her.
Her marriage was brief and painful and could not be saved.
I was really brought down to a very low level in my life. I did cry many, many nights because, going through a divorce, especially with a small child, is devastating.
Just when Barbara felt things could not get any worse, the bottom of her business dropped out virtually overnight. The 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center brought construction in Manhattan to a standstill.
It just seemed like the whole world just fell apart on me.
Coming up,
I was saddled with so much debt because I had business loans. There was just no money.
When Women on Top returns.